welcome. Today with us, we have one of our best discus throwers of all time, Reese Garland, an accomplished discus thrower, amazing student, amazing person, hard worker. She was able to represent the United States of America at the World Championships under 20 in Lima last year, and she has an incredible story to tell from how she started in sports, how she ended up in track and field, and how she became one of the best discus throwers of all time at U.S. history. Check it out, our interview with Reese Garland.
How you feeling today?
Feeling good.
Good.
It's a little rainy outside, but it's okay. Yeah.
Well, we're doing this series just to get to know you guys.
Okay.
I think it's going to be a good story to follow 4 years throughout your college career. Before we start with all the throwing questions, tell us, Reese, how did you end up in sports in the first place?
Okay, good question. I would say my dad, my father. Yeah, he played football at Michigan State. And from the start, it was always basketball, soccer, some sort of sport with our siblings. So, both my parents made us. And then, middle school is where it kind of gets serious when I became 6 foot randomly. So, basketball and volleyball were my top two. And then, throwing, I guess we'll talk more about, but ended up throwing in high school as well. But yeah, I'd say my dad definitely pushed our siblings to be an athlete.
And I like that he didn't push you into one sport.
Yeah.
You played multiple sports.
I did play multiple sports. So basketball, volleyball, and track were the 3, but I still, I did soccer, softball for a while. Tried golfing, all the sports. Yeah, soccer was my worst one, but, tennis, every sport. But yeah, the top 3 were basketball, volleyball.
I remember when the recruiting started your junior year, it was clear that you were a big talent, that you have a lot of potential, you're very athletic. You still struggle between 2 sports your senior year.
Yeah.
Not struggle. You were doing both or 3?
I was doing 3.
3.
So that was, a huge struggle. All my coaches were like, you got to pick one because, and I didn't really think that was fair considering like we're leaving in a month, a year, and also we're not even good at basketball. Like if we were a top team, I would understand, like get off the team. But it was just for fun. So my basketball coach was not for that. So I ended up I did basketball senior year, and then I ended up not playing, I think, half the season, just because the conflicts got to be too much, which was horrible. And then volleyball started the same thing. I'd have to miss tournaments for track meets and then track meets for volleyball practice. So it definitely was a hard struggle, especially senior year. But in the end, I'm glad I did all 3.
How did you manage academics with 3 sports? And obviously you're a very good student. How did you manage all that?
I think just time management, like actually setting the time to do your homework. It was tough because I'd get home at 10 p.m. from volleyball, but still, like right as I get home, I know it was crazy. Yeah. It was like an hour away. It would be 6 to 9, so it was insane. But, right when I get home, I'd eat dinner and do homework. Like no phone, no any distractions, and then get to bed by 11, which, seems like a long day, but there's so many distractions I feel like I could have had, siblings or whatever, but I think focus and time management of actually getting your work done or doing it in class maybe a little, so yeah.
Wow, studying during class.
Yeah, you have to kind of, because, if you have a volleyball game and like a track meet, because high school track meets, they'll go by quick, so I'd go to a volleyball game after, and it'd be 10:30, 11 p.m., and it's like Wednesday randomly.
Wow.
So it was definitely
that's really impressive.
Yeah,
to keep up with your studies, doing all that, and be a great student.
Definitely.
How difficult was the whole recruiting process? So a lot of high school kids find it challenging to pick the schools, pick the right environment, East Coast, West Coast, staying close home. What was your recruiting process? Meaning, how did you pick schools, and when did you start thinking about college seriously?
Yeah. So I always say my recruiting process is way different than everyone's because, like I said, like I did not know if I wanted to do volleyball. I didn't know if I wanted to do basketball, and then track and field was always in the back of my head. Yeah. So I would say like November of senior year, that's when I was like, wow, oh no, like people are, committing, early decision. Yeah. So I'm talking to volleyball coaches, and then, I have my whole track recruiting story that I could definitely share, but But yeah, I was definitely on the late side of things, considering I haven't even picked a sport. But yeah, it was definitely tricky. It was definitely different. And then yeah, just narrowing down the sports and the schools was a huge struggle. Like even January, I think that's when I took my visit, February. Even then I was like, oh my gosh, I have like 2 months. Like I gotta hurry up. People are leaving high school. So yeah, that was definitely hard. So like I said, my dad played football at Michigan State. I was Midwest, definitely Midwest girl from Chicago, Michigan State, Michigan, Indiana, like, the Big Ten. So I was looking at schools, Big Ten, and then Coach Martin gave me the opportunity to come out here. So yeah, I guess geographically wasn't huge for me, but
It wasn't staying home, or it was more academic?
yeah, I was gonna say more academic, and then also weather was a huge thing for me.
Okay.
Just because, Chicago, it's snowing. It's a snowstorm right now, which is, I've had 19 years of that. So it was huge.
Good change.
Yeah, definitely.
It's very important to kind of know which components are the most important for you. Right? So you were looking at academics, obviously athletics as well, but your academic part was amazing.
Definitely.
So that helped a lot. When I saw your marks and I saw the way you threw, like, okay, this young lady has a lot of potential. We started talking to your dad. Great background in track and field, so that was very helpful because he was football, but he did some track.
He did some track. I forgot to mention that he did. He was the national champion for shot put in high school. I forgot. He makes me say that, but I forgot about that. Sorry, Dad. But yes, he did do some discus and shot put Michigan State too.
Yeah, so that was great in conversation that I had with him. Knowing that background is there and to a high level, that actually led to recruiting your brother as well.
Right.
So when you came to California on your visit, what are some things that you did like when you came to USC, academically or just facility? Or
yeah, I mean everything. I liked everything. I'd say number one, weather, because like I said, snowing in Chicago in January, but it was beautiful here. So I was like, this is crazy. Weather. Number two, just the connections, like the building connections. When we went to the business school, I just saw a lot of things I didn't see at other schools of, alumni networks. And, if I wanted to be set for the future, I knew this was the school for me. And yeah, facility wise, like Wilmington even, and out just looking at the track right now, like not a lot of schools have an outdoor, like they have like indoor, but some don't have like a great outdoor facility and weight room and snacks and everything. So everything was in count to that. But overall, I just think this is the best option. Again, like academically, that's huge. But athletically, we're always top 10 at least every year. So it was no brainer.
You got into Marshall right away.
Yes.
What's your experience in school right now? So you've been here. This is your second year.
Second year. Yes.
What's your academic experience so far?
Yeah.
Balancing both and balancing Marshall.
Yeah. I would say Marshall's definitely a little difficult, the business school. There's different classes, there's marketing, economics was definitely my biggest struggle in my whole life. No, I'm just kidding. It was definitely crazy. But there's marketing and, organizational behavior. It's different types of classes, which is really cool. I really like learning about it, but it does get tough because, marketing's not really my strength, but communication could be, So it's kind of hard to balance that. But I love it. I love a challenge. When it's too easy, then it gets boring. So, yeah, Marshall, good. And balancing the rest of the academics. I took some fun classes, taking anthropology right now, which was, never knew existed. So, yeah, it's good.
What's your favorite class so far?
So far? Shoot. I really like psychology, even though it was definitely a lot of work. It was really interesting, like how the brain works or like why you smell what you smell, tricking your brain. I really liked psychology. Philosophy was really interesting too. Classes I never knew I was going to take, but.
You're taking a lot upon yourself.
Yes.
In terms of commitments, you do a lot academically. You do a lot for social work, for community work too. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So my teammates, Angelina, a couple of our teammates, we created a nonprofit organization for kids, a running organization. And yeah, that's just where our season starts in 2 days. But just kids around the community, we just get to know kids and teach them how to run. I mean, I'm not much of a runner, but I know the basics to teach people. But yeah, it's free. It's 45 minutes every Sunday, just a couple of kids, and we're gonna take them right outside the village, the field, and yeah, just teach them how to run. So that is definitely starting up in 2 days.
What motivates you to do it? Why would you take another thing? Like
I
being
don't
a
know.
student and an athlete at USC is not enough.
You know, I thought it would be
Work.
fun. You know, like teammates are like, are you interested in this? And I mean, running, if it was throws camp, I'd be way more interested. But I don't know. I thought it would be a good way to get involved with the community. I haven't been really involved here necessarily, just because, you know, track, school, everything. So yeah, and I don't know a lot about, you know, the kids around the community. I don't know a lot, so I thought it would be a good way to get involved.
That's wonderful that you're trying to give back.
Yeah.
To teach the kids and
Right.
introduce them to
Right.
Higher education, help them out
Exactly.
from the beginning.
Bring them here, show them around. Definitely.
No, you guys are doing wonderful work. I'm always amazed to see how much you guys do, how much you care.
Yeah.
A lot of student athletes, it's not a bad thing, but they focus on just those two things.
Right.
So
Yeah.
knowing where you came from and what got you here and how many lives you can change, but those little things,
Right.
they're not little. Helping community, working with young kids, showing them the way goes a long way. You're changing a couple lives that you might not even know, but it goes a long way.
Right.
So I'm always amazed that you guys have
Definitely.
that care.
Yeah.
So keep doing that.
Yeah.
Keep doing that.
It's definitely fun. And Mateo's involved too. We're on the team together, so it'll be fun. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I don't know a couple of your teammates that have different nonprofit organizations. Christian did a great job a couple of years ago with the shoes as well.
Yeah.
You guys are amazing. You guys
Yeah.
are amazing.
It's good to
You're
get
amazing,
back. for
Amazing
sure.
students, amazing people. You're amazing athletes. You,
Yes.
Reese, you came into the sport late.
Yeah.
We talked about that.
Definitely.
High school, people did see your potential, but your marks were not quite there.
Right.
Tell us about your journey from, I don't know what's that's equivalent to average Joe
Yeah.
for a female, to
I've-
being an average thrower.
Yes. Average Joe.
Right, average thrower
Yes.
to becoming a representative of your country at the World
Yeah.
Championships. So
Yeah.
within that short time frame.
Yeah,
Talk
so
to us
that-
about that.
I know sometimes I still think about that, and I just think it's crazy just how the year difference of putting effort into one thing. So yeah, like I said, balancing the 3 sports, again, I don't regret it, but if I didn't do it, I think I could be an elite thrower, like out of high school. But you know, I enjoyed my time. But yeah, like I said, my dad made all of the siblings throw. You know, we didn't really like it. It was heavy. The shot put was heavy, and we did not like to do it, let's just say. And then after COVID, so my sophomore year, we decided to get, you know, a little more serious. Like, okay, throw, it's outdoors, better the basketball, volleyball's indoors, so you could do this sport outdoors. We do it a little more, whatever. Throwing, but I love volleyball, love basketball. Junior year is like the state meet where I got like placed 5th randomly. Was not expected, I don't know. And you know, I was still focused on volleyball, basketball. And then senior year, that's when my mom was like, what about throwing in college? And I'm like, no.
What is that?
Yeah. I was like, I'm not going to throw that heavy ball for like 8 years. I'm not doing that. And then, so she secretly actually, for the stream to know, Mom, if you're watching this, she secretly went on my computer and got the Big Ten emails, like for track and field. And she was like, made me send these emails for track. I'm like, because I was sending volleyball emails, track emails. And I'm like, I'm not doing it, whatever. So I sent some emails and I got responses. And I think that is what getting actual responses from Michigan State, like my family school or something. I think that's what kind of got my interest, like got me driven. I'm like, oh. So then I really grinded senior year, you know, like kind of taking it more seriously. And then, you know, my technique, like we had like high school coaches. Like, yeah, my dad's a great coach and all, but to an extent, sorry, Dad. But, you know, there's a different type of level of technique. So yeah, state meet senior year, placed 2nd, I think. And then it was time committed here. And then I got here and I just saw like all the talent And I was like, I'm so behind. Like, I barely lifted. I barely touched a bar. You know, I could barely jump. I could barely, like the vertical test. Yeah, technique was horrible. So thank you for Coach Martin, because if I didn't have Coach Martin, I would not be here currently. But yeah, I think just putting in, like, actually focusing on one thing, which is I never did in my life, but focusing on one thing for just what was it, like 9 months? Then I made Team USA at U20 trials, which was not expected, but if someone told me 3 years ago, right, like I don't know what you're talking about. So yeah, that's kind of the journey, and I just still can't believe that if I put effort in one thing for a couple months, then just the results I got. But yeah, I give it all to Coach Martin, because I don't know what I would have done.
You put a lot of work. You put a lot of hard work, and there's a lot of good coaches out there in NCAA.
Yeah.
That saw your potential. And what's easy for us coaches is when there's a will and there's a talent and there's a will for hard work. That's the easy part. So
right.
It was the easy part for me to coach you. It was the hard part is you putting work.
Right.
And also, I like what you said about focusing on one thing. If you have 3 things going on, there's that person. And there's a lot of people working on that one thing, they're going to outperform you.
Right.
Because all their effort, all their time is going into that one thing.
Exactly.
So what you had in those 9 months was incredible. I do I'm still amazed by how far you got. I knew you're going to be great I didn't know you're going to be great that much
with that
right away.
Amount of time, right?
So it did surprise me as well. And I'm always more conservative coach.
Yes.
But there was absolute talent there. It was absolutely obvious that you can be great and that you actually put the work in every day. In the mornings, I started with just a plastic bar for snatches and cleans.
Never forget.
And doing all the drills.
Right.
And going as far as you did. That's really a testament to your hard work. And it does help that you had that in high school. I always say it's not a bad thing that you do multiple sports. It shows your dedication and your commitment. Right. And you had that. It's just now when you funnel in all, it's amazing.
All of it.
So you go to USA's and you outperform all these young ladies who are also working really hard. Yes. How was that feeling at USA's when you? I know your mom was watching online.
Oh yeah, yeah. My mom came to Lima, which was crazy. Also, yeah, that experience was not real at all. Because you're listening to people speak in different languages right next to you, and it's, different uniform textures, everything's just different. Every single thing's different. I loved it. Like, I love that world meet. That was so fun. And just even the food we had in Lima, it was just so different. It didn't even feel like real life. But yeah, I went out there. I was seated. Actually, I don't remember what I was seated, but I remember I made it to finals. I did, right? Finals? Yeah. Okay. Starting to forget, and then I missed the final, right?
But how was that qualifying? How was the qualifying experience going through the call room, and then you did it twice, obviously, for the final?
Yeah, like I said, it was crazy, and
how's that compared to NCAA competitions, World Championship competitions?
It's just a lot more serious. Yeah, they're like, let me check. Do you have anything in your sleeves? Like your phone, you can't even have your phone in there. And I was like, shoot, thank God I didn't bring it, but. Because they're like, you got to go. We have to go. It was a lot more stress, I would say, but it's because it's, you're on a world's stage compared to, let's say like Pac-12s. It's like you just show up, and no hate towards Pac-12s, but, you show up and warm up, do your own thing. Like in Lima, they were more like, all right, now we walk out in a line. Now we, wave to the camera, do introductions. And it's like, is this on TV? Like, I don't know. Like, am I smiling? Like, I don't know. There's a lot of things you don't think about, especially on that world stage. And I think that's why I loved it so much, because it was so different. And even, call room to even competing, even to the ring. Like, I just like to say that the ring was different. It probably wasn't, but it just felt different. The discus, even though it was ours, but everything felt different. So I really liked the competition.
What was your preparation for it? So you flying out, you guys flew out of LA?
Yeah, LA.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And when you got there, where you got situated? How was the food? How was the organization?
It was awesome. I'd say Lima, it's very tight, very like streets are tight, roads, everything. So it took us, I'd say like an hour and a half to get to the hotel, even though it was 9 miles away.
Oh,
So it was just traffic. So that's the first thing I realized.
traffic.
That took forever. So it was like 3 a.m. because the delays, whatever. We get up and the meals are like cheese, like not our average like little G, you know,
Yeah.
like pancake, omelet. No, it's like cheese and crackers and quiche, like some like random, like it'll fuel you, but it's just like not normal
Okay.
for me.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, I would just say it was just so cool because you're representing like your country, but it's still random people. You know, so I'm meeting, like it's my team, but I'm meeting people. Like, oh, I go to
Different
Illinois.
university, yeah.
Right. And it's like, oh, I know you because, you know, you're on my team, but I don't know you. So I thought that was a really, like at breakfast, we're talking like, oh, you go to Pepperdine or, you know, like different types of elite athletes. Because, you know, if you're there, you're definitely elite if you're top 2 in the country. So that was really fun to build connections. And we still talk to people to this day. But yeah, preparation for the competition, I'd say just like normal day. You know, I eat. I love coffee. I always come to practice with coffee every single day, so coach knows that. Stretching, yeah, warm up. I don't think there was anything too different, but it was more like the different culture that I like. The long getting there, taking forever, and the food and water. Even can't drink the water, so I had like 8 water bottles all next to me. I don't know. I loved it personally. Yeah.
It is far away.
Yes. Yeah. And it was winter, technically winter, when it was like our summer, August. So, yeah, it was just different, and I really would like to do another world meet.
Absolutely, you are in position to do that. So,
Hopefully,
just
yes.
Stay healthy, work hard.
Definitely.
You guys, you and Jenna, we're going to talk to her as well.
Good.
Represented U.S. there at the U20s. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible honor, incredible testament to your work. How long were you guys there for?
A week.
A week.
Yeah, and it was the first week of classes too.
Yeah.
So it was, you know, the econ, the economics class. I was so nervous about missing that, but everything worked out.
Professors
Obviously.
okay with that?
Professors, because I would tell them, I was like, oh man, they're like, what? That's okay. You're excused by the quiz 1. I was like, okay, I don't have to do quiz 1, I guess, but you know, just saying that, like I represented USA, I think that turns a lot of heads, and you know, yeah, it's just I really would like to do that again.
You got some cool gear.
Yeah, I still have that gear. I still wear it around the house.
Yeah.
My mom has a couple of things because they give you a whole pack. It's like 5 shirts, like
Represent.
arm sleeves. I don't know. They give you a lot.
What how was your experience with other countries? Throwers from other countries. You guys seem to have a good time there.
Yeah. I mean, the Team USA, we had our own hotel, so it wasn't much. I only saw them kind of at the venue. Yeah, it's just different. And even how people warm up and like how they hold themselves, so different from like, you know, Pac-12s when we're all just like, you know, doing our thing. Just meeting people. I met a lot of people. It's hard. I'm not really one to like meet my competition. I really don't like doing that. I've always not like that. But like after the competition, you know, I was like, nice to meet you. Good job. Because, you know, I might not see them again. I might.
For a while, yeah.
So.
Well, I think it's interesting you mentioned about seriousness in preparation and in other countries. In most countries, you specialize really early.
Yeah.
So you don't play basketball, volleyball, soccer until you're 18. You do that when you're 8, 9, 10,
Right.
and then 11, like, okay, this is
You
your
lock
sport.
in. Right.
So reason why you see so many European athletes, world athletes from all around the world in U.S. competing, throwing especially, because it
Right.
is such a technical event in NCAA.
Right.
So you see discus, javelin, any event, there's so many foreigners
Yeah. A lot.
because of that early start.
Right.
And as I talked to your parents in your recruiting process, I was telling them she's a little bit behind. She's going to
Definitely.
catch up, but she's a little bit behind.
Yeah.
And you were definitely talented enough to be where you ended up being, but there's a lot of young ladies ahead of you.
Yes.
That your
Still
senior
are.
year, that they were there with distances that you didn't reach yet, and they were recruited heavily,
Right.
with big schools.
I remember.
So
I
I'm
remember that
happy this
feeling.
school didn't see you.
Yes. Yeah. No, definitely. And I think I realized that after the meet that so many people, even I would say I saw it more hammer throw. It was
Yeah,
more like
very technical.
Estonia, those different countries, very technical, and you could tell they've been doing it for a while. And opposed to Jenna, like she can definitely talk on that, but I don't think she's been doing it for like what, 4 years?
I think you guys
3?
had the same kind of start.
Yeah.
Late
So
junior year.
very late. So yeah, I realized that like it was crazy, and even the coaching style, I could tell like everything's just different.
How was it having so many USC athletes there? Because you and Jenna were not the only ones.
We were not the only ones.
Yeah.
Nona, actually,
Yeah.
a hurdler, was there. Shaquan, commit at the time, freshman, and Ashley was supposed to go before the injury. I loved it. Yeah, I think we represented USC. Like we were the most represented college. And I think that says a lot about our talent, and it's a huge flex because it's like there's like 5 athletes here that go to USC, and they're all on the younger side and elite. So I don't know. I loved it, and it was good to know someone. Me, Jenna, and we roomed together, but we knew Nona, so we'd go to a race. And Avery too,
Yep,
and Tiana.
Avery, yep.
Totally forgot it,
There
but
you go.
yeah,
I think it was like 7. I
yeah,
think it was 7.
7 out of So it was great. It was good to have our like little family, but I think people realized there's a couple, and they'd be like, "Oh, USC." I'm like, "Yeah, a lot of us are here." Yeah, it was good.
You guys are doing an incredible job, and I think it's very unique, and you can speak to this too. To be surrounded in an environment, to be surrounded daily with world championships representative, with Olympians, with athletes at such a high level on the women and men's side. Talk to us about that, how it is to be.
Yeah, I mean, even just practicing, like Raquel's a great athlete. All the teammates are a great athlete, but just practicing, it pushes me personally to be the best I can and hard work. If we were just lazy and hanging around, I would probably be chill.
Your level would be lower,
right?
The bar would be lower.
Exactly, and just because of how intense it is and how, what's the word? Very competitive and just high level it is, it's holding me to a standard, and I think I'm just getting better even in the weight room. Carissa is insanely strong, and Jenna as well, and seeing them, I'm like, dang it, now I have to do a plate of bench. Ashley's doing, I'm like, dang it. But if we didn't have that, I'd like to think I would be pushing myself, but it would be difficult if I didn't have be surrounded by greatness. So
No, it is a huge component of daily progress. So when you have a bad day, and you do have Jenna there excited, and Carissa excited, actually not just them, like you mentioned Avery, you mentioned all these great sprinters that we have, Olympians, Yimi, right?
Yes.
To be around that, subconsciously, you have to hold yourself to that level. In terms of, okay, I gotta go to sleep. I gotta go. I gotta get my food. I gotta meet with Abby and Nick. Right. I gotta meet with the nutritionist. Abby and Nick, they do a great job.
Yes.
Talk to us about your routine. To be what you accomplished, it did not come on accident. You put a lot of hard work that year. Talk to us about something that you learned right away that you implemented to help you go 30 feet further than high school.
Yeah. So, I mean, out of high school, I want to say I wasn't really disciplined at all. I'd go to bed, even like I would be disciplined with work specifically because I had to. But then when it was done, it would be like, okay, like finally I can be on my phone until 3 a.m. or like, oh, I don't need breakfast. I can have lunch in a couple hours, whatever. And getting here, I found out real quick that was not going to slide at all. If you skip a meal, that's not good. So I'm like, I have to get up before little G closes, no excuse. Even like taking care, like bod pods, we have the bod pods.
Yeah.
Even that, like, I'm like, oh, I have to go to the bod pod. I have to see what type of progress I've made. And like even sleep, like I was going to mention Madison White is my roommate. She's, again, very elite. Sleep, she'd be like, all right, lights out by 10, and that was not what I was like. I'm not used to that at all. But I would say just the amount of discipline that went into my routine. The sleeping by 10, it's usually 11, but we try 10. The waking up to eat before like 10:30 a.m., the have to go to class, because I also learned like, oh, you don't have to go to class, that whole idea. But no, like when you have that, when you have that discipline and when you have that, different type of drive from high school, it's just a whole nother thing. So it's like have to go to class, practice, coffee's always in the routine. Not good, but
Well, it depends what caffeine is not, coffee itself is not bad, but depending what you put.
right, depends. So if I come with a latte with Ashley and she knows what I mean by that, yeah, that's inappropriate, but the cold brew will be okay. Yeah, I mean, I would just say discipline played a lot into my routine, which is something, again, I never had in high school. So it makes me think like if I focused on one sport and had discipline, I mean, I feel like I'd be in a better spot right now. But again, everything happens. So yeah, I would say discipline is definitely what I learned and I had in my routine.
Was it hard? I'm sure at the beginning it was really hard. After that, did you feel that you kind of made these discipline things that you had to be disciplined about made your habits? Do you feel that was transition?
I'd say definitely my habits now. Right. Even, waking up, like even in high school, I'd miss sometimes breakfast and lunch. And I don't know why I would do that, but I'd feel fine. I didn't, but now it's a habit to get up and eat, and it's a habit to go get a salad before, it's just like you build habits. Even after a week, I've found myself getting salads. I'm like, I don't know why I'm still getting salad. I can get whatever I want. Yeah, it's definitely now a habit, but sometimes I do need a little nudge, like it's getting late, or, socially it can be hard. A lot of my friends, a couple of high school friends actually came here. They love to go out, do whatever. And it's
scenery,
hard. Yeah, right. And be college students. But, that discipline's also, if I have, 11 a.m. assault bike, we're not gonna, or, I'd rather go to bed by 11 p.m. or something. So that was a whole nother wake up call in the beginning of because in high school I was social, I'd do what I want, but the discipline of getting to bed, socially limiting yourself, and to be able to put you in that position. So,
no, you did a great job, and I do have to give you praise for using the resources too. You did use tutors,
yes.
Angela, academic advisors.
Yeah.
I know that you are very prompt to visit your professors, talk to your professors. So
right.
you're doing all these things
yeah.
To make it easier on yourself. So keep doing that.
Definitely.
Keep doing that.
Yeah.
Research that you have, not being shy to ask for help
right.
when you need. Always encourage you guys to do that. But you are very self-driven, and it's great to see that. And also, what I saw from you, talk to your parents, you are finding the ways to rest a little bit more now too.
Definitely.
You were taking a lot
yes.
on by yourself.
Yes.
But you did find, okay, I gotta chill a little bit.
Right.
I can't do so many different things
right.
at the same time.
Especially if you're lifting like we do and we're throwing for hours like that. Yeah. And I found out the hard way of I can't play volleyball in the sand after I have the heaviest lift max out. And, that's the sacrifice I'm willing to make. But, yeah, that was a wake-up call for sure.
How does where do you see yourself in 5 years from now? How does the path look like for now that okay, track is the way, martial school's business away. What do you want to do in both areas?
Yeah. For track-wise, I definitely would like to hit the Olympics. Definitely, LA 2028 or, whatever it takes me. I think that's the perfect position. But definitely have a lot more work to do. But yeah, the sport, I feel like definitely growing with it, after taking a whole full year of it, liking it a lot more. And, sometimes it's difficult. It's difficult to get out of the bad habits. Like looking at the left sector line is a huge key we're working on right now, but it's definitely gets really hard. But no, I love it. So I'm hoping in the future, there's going to be a future. And LA 2020 would probably be the 2 to 3 years from now. Academically, yeah. I would say I always wanted to do some sort of event management, event planning. But now I'm realizing as we do more of these classes, business gives you, like I said before, that's the marketing, communications, there's people operations. There's so many things you could do. And not just planning, So now I'm kind of up in the air. I don't know if I want, I'm also minoring in communications. So there's that. There's just so many options that it brings you, the Marshall School of Business. So I'm kind of unsure right now, but I've always liked planning. Like wedding planning was a huge dream. Like it just, I love that like structure and like doing work, even though I'm sometimes not as structured, but I would still do it for my job. But yeah, I'm kind of up in the air just because of how many opportunities in the classes I'm learning about. Yeah.
And that's a great place to be at the time that you are now, your sophomore year. And it's fine not to know what you want to do.
Right.
At this point in high school, I think a lot of high school athletes put a lot of pressure on what they want to study.
Definitely.
Like, I need to find a school that has this one particular thing.
Right.
And they come and take classes and they realize, wow, this is not it.
Yeah.
But you still know that you want to be something in business.
Business, yeah. And I think that's the best major for me for sure. There's the communications aspect, everything. What else do we do? Presentation, which is, that was again, difficult, but it's so fun to learn. And now if you're ever in like an office type of thing or marketing, if you're ever, working or even like real estate randomly, you know how to navigate.
Talk to people.
Yes, talk to people. They do a really good job preparing you for anything for the business. So I'd say I guess wherever the wind takes you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you work hard, and I know whatever you do, you do it really well. I do want to. I have a couple more questions for you before we finish up.
Yeah.
I want to praise you for being a great teammate. We're talking about communication, right? You are a great recruiter too. Very professional during your recruiting visits, and we love it here. And for that, I gotta praise you because a lot of times, it's hard to give you guys another thing to do while you have school, while you have track, while you have everything going on to host an athlete.
Yes.
And you ladies did an incredible job this year, last 2 years, of being such a great host.
Definitely.
So I think in business, you guys are going to be really good.
Good.
Really good. Yeah.
That's good to hear the reviews.
And for us coaches, that's the biggest thing is having athletes who are coming in to see the team. Right. And you guys take it with such a great spirit. I can't praise you enough for that. And it goes a long way in life when you do have your own business, when you do have to present your cases, your projects, your plans,
right,
to investors, to your employees. It's a great practice experience.
Yeah.
We can't sell you guys on that, but I'm telling you, this is a great, what you're doing right now.
Definitely.
Is a lot of practice, and you're doing a great job. What are some things that you would, looking now back, advise young ladies and young men in high school when it comes to recruiting, when it comes to narrowing down schools? Some things that you wish you knew or you knew but you didn't do.
Right.
What are some things?
I would say number one, and I want to thank my mom for this, is reach out, emailing. Because like I said, I don't know if you remember, but that's how I got to Coach Martin, just like sending a random email. And like I said, I would not be here right now. But I think that's the best way to get your name out there, show what you can, showcase. And that's my number one ever. Because if my mom didn't make me draft up things and make me send it, I don't even know where I'd be. I don't know. I'd also say don't get discouraged because, I guess my situation's different with like volleyball and track, and I was like, I don't know, like stressing out and stuff, but things will work out for sure. If they're meant to work out, they'll work out. Even, here, I'm just going to say things will work out, and there's a plan, and I think a lot of people freak out because it's like, next 4 years of your life and you got to decide and everyone's deciding. But I'd say things will work out. If you put in the hard work that you have been doing and you're motivated in the classroom and you're a good person. That's what Coach Martin actually really looks for, a good person. I remember him saying that. But if you're, a solid person and you dedicate yourself on and off the track, things will work out for you. And I think not a lot of people realize, I think it's more like track focused. You got to do this, but you got to be well-rounded and just trust the process. That's what I'd say.
Great advice. Great advice. As you know, and you guys can see that on our team, we have a lot of transfers.
Definitely.
So if it doesn't work out right away, like you say, it's going to work
options.
out.
There's definitely
there's
options.
Junior colleges. There are different colleges that you can get into if you want to find your way to that school, dream school.
Exactly.
With hard work, you'll
Right.
get there. You'll be noticed.
Yes.
If you're not noticed out of high school, so
Right.
that's a great advice.
Definitely
Very nice.
options.
What's your favorite place to get food from or snack at USC? That's my last question for you.
Wow. That is a tough question. Honestly. Okay.
You
I
have
would
to.
say
You have to.
I have two. Okay, great. So Dulce in the Village, it is huge. If you ever come to campus, there's always a line outside of the door. It's crazy. I love their breakfast burritos. Better than Little G, better than anything I've had. I don't know what they do. It's bacon, like pico de gallo. I'm not sure what they do. It's so good. Again, it's like $15 because, we're in LA and everything's so expensive.
yeah.
But they also have great coffee. Like I mentioned 8 times already, I love coffee. They're known for their matcha, and I don't like matcha, but their matcha I can have, which is that tells you a lot. And my favorite dessert's tiramisu, and they have a tiramisu cake. So it's basically everything that I would want in my whole life, all in Dulce. So I'd say Dulce. I'll just leave it at that. I'll just leave it Dulce.
My wife loves Dulce.
Really?
We do go there sometimes on weekends.
Yeah.
My little boy, Leah, he loves it. My
Yes.
wife gets some matcha. We get
Okay.
this big bread brick.
Okay.
bread brick.
They have so much.
Breakfast burrito is amazing. And my wife will make me stay in that line
Right?
to get her
Right.
matcha.
In
and
the
her
sun.
breakfast burrito.
It's in the sun. It is in the sun. Yes.
Yeah.
It is so, and it's always at the door. No matter, it could be 7 p.m. or it could be noon. There's always a line.
Yeah, the village.
how you know.
The village is a special place. It's
Yes.
really nice.
It is very.
Reese, we're gonna do this more.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time. I know
Yeah.
you are a student. You gotta get to your class.
Yes.
Thank you again for stopping out. There was some great advice for young men and young women out there
Definitely.
about recruiting. And your story, how you got where you got. Keep working hard. I'm excited to see the season go. I'm excited to see the next couple of seasons go. For you.
too.
So,
I appreciate it. Thanks, Coach. Thanks for having me.
thank you, Reese.
Thanks for watching.
Bye, on.